Ntar ya.
Oke.
Udah belum?
Dah, dah.
Udah. Lanjut.
Oke, satu, dua, tiga. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Mentri, and everyone who watching our videos. Today we want to present our presentation from Group 9 K Class Business Administration about establishing a pay structure. Next slide, please. And this is our group members, consists me, Galudibus Pasaruni, and my partner.
Gede gue dan ada suara.
Okay. Okay, the first slide we talk about decisions about pay. There are kinds of decisions involved in establishing a pay structure. The first, job structure. The relative pay for different jobs within the organization is establishes relative pay among different functions and different levels of responsibility. For example, difference in pay between an accounting department manager and the organization's controller. Di sini misalnya ada perbedaan antara fungsi dan different level of responsibility. Jadi misal antara manajer dan staff itu pasti terdapat perbedaan gaji. Itu yang dimaksud oleh job structure. And the next it's about pay level. It's the average amount including wage, salaries, and bonus the organization pays for a particular job. And the last is pay structure. Salary policies that result from job structure and salary level decisions make up the pay structure that helps organizations achieve goals related to employee motivation, cost control, and the ability to attract and retain talented human resource. Jadi tidak hanya tentang perbedaan struktur dan fungsi, tetapi misal ada keterampilan yang mungkin staffnya itu bakalan lebih baik kinerjanya dibanding oleh manajer. Jadi bisa mereka mendapat bonus atau semacamnya. Next slide please. The next is legal requirements for pay is competing businesses may not conspire to set price, wage rates or employment opportunity, minimum wage, pay for overtime, etc. And all of an organization's decisions about pay should comply with the applicable laws. The first legal requirements is equal employment opportunity. It's the equal opportunity laws do not guarantee equal pay for men and women, West and minorities, or any other groups because so many legitimate factors from education to choice of occupation affect a person earnings. So di sini tidak ada perbedaan antara men and woman and dan lainnya, jadi semuanya itu sama. And the second, minimum wage, the lowest amount that employers may pay under federal or state law stated as an amount of pay per hour. Biasanya minimum wage itu kalau di Indonesia kita menyebutnya dengan UMR, upah minimum regional. Okay, next slide please. The third legal requirement is overtime pay, the compensation you receive for working beyond normal working hours. For example, if you are eligible to receive overtime pay and your standard work week is 40 hours, working 50 hours in a given week means you can earn overtime pay for those 10 extra hours. Your overtime eligibility depends on your weekly earnings and how many hours you work. Jadi misal kalau dalam normalnya dalam one week itu 40 hours, kalian bekerja 50 hours kan berarti ada 10 extra hours, itu biasanya juga bisa kan diberi bonus dalam kerja kalian. And the fourth legal requirement is child labor. Under the FLSA, children aged 16 and 17 may not be employed in hazardous occupation defined by the Department of Labor such as mining, meatpacking, and certain kinds of manufacturing using heavy machinery. Jadi dalam undang-undang di Indonesia juga ketenaga kerjaan kan tidak memperbolehkan ya usia di bawah 18 tahun untuk bekerja. Begitu juga dengan di sini. Okay, next slide please. The fifth legal requirement is prevailing wage. Federal contractors must pay their employees at rates at least equal to the prevailing wage in the area. The calculation of prevailing rates must be based on 30% of the local labor force. The effect of these laws is to raise the lower limit of pay an employer can offer. Jadi intinya harus berpatokan juga ke regional dari masing-masing. And the last legal requirement is pay ratio reporting. Public companies in the United States are required to include this ratio in their annual financial statement, and the ratio compares the CEO's compensation to that of the company's median employee. The ratio would be very high in an organization where the CEO's compensation is high. Next slide, please. The next slide is about economic influences on pay. The first is product markets, a process of marketing products to consumers so that they want to buy products. Organizations in product markets compete to serve the same customers. Therefore, to succeed in their product market, they try to win over customers by excelling in a number of areas, including quality, customer service, and price. Jadi untuk influence on pay itu dari segi ekonomi itu adalah dari segi produksi market itu sendiri. Mungkin bisa dari kualitas produk or from customer service or from price kayak gitu. And the second is labor markets. Organization must compete to obtain human resources in labor markets. Through these efforts and preferences, competition for labor establishes the minimum an organization must pay to hire an employee for a particular job. Jadi untuk sebuah perusahaan yang berkualitas kayak seperti Shopee kan pasti juga memilih SDM or human resource or labor yang berkualitas juga pasti akan diseleksi. Maka dari itu butuh employee yang berkualitas untuk company yang berkualitas pula. Okay, next slide please. The third is pay level, deciding what to pay. Although legal requirements and economic influences limit organization choice about pay levels, there is a range within which organizations can make decisions. And the fourth is gathering information about market pay. To compete for talent, organizations use benchmarking, a procedure in which an organization compares its own practices against those of successful competitors. This provides information about the going rates of pay at competitors in the organization's product and labor markets. Jadi, alangkah baiknya kita mengcompare perusahaan kita dengan the other company pula untuk melihat apakah perusahaan kita itu ketinggalan atau enggak kayak gitu. Okay, the next slide please. The next is employee judgments about pay fairness. The first is judging fairness or equity. Assessing fairness, employees evaluate their salaries relative to the salaries of other employees. To decide whether a level of pay is equitable, the person compares her ratio of outcomes. They compare their pay and contribution against their peers inside and outside the organization. Jadi employees itu bisa banget untuk mengcompare gajinya itu sebanding nggak sih dengan employee lain, maksudnya bisa nggak sih gaji segitu tuh sesuai sama apa yang dia kerjakan, bisa dia bandingkan di inside organization or outside from the organization. Next slide please. Next slide is communicating fairness. Equity theory tells organizations that employees care about their salaries relative to what others earn. Therefore, if an organization researches salary levels and concludes that it pays its employees generously, it must communicate it. And if employees don't know what the organization is learning from its research, they may reach wrong conclusions about their pay, and which can lead to reduced job satisfaction and other downside. Jadi bisa banget ketika salaries itu nggak sesuai, bisa banget untuk employee itu communicate with atasan yang mengurusi tentang salary or semacamnya. Okay, next slide please. Okay, the next it's about job structure will be explained by my friend Gowinda. Please, Gowinda.
Okay, the next is about job structure. This is the relative value of jobs. So in general, the top executive like chief or manager is tend to be paid much more than entry-level workers. This is because they have a greater impact on the organization's performance. And how to measure this is by the job evaluations, such an administrative procedure for measuring the relative internal worth of the organizational job. And the process is by assembling and training a job evaluation committee, which the people who familiar with the jobs that will be evaluated, such as HR specialist or outside consultant, if the budget is possible. And the last is about the key jobs. This is key jobs is the job relatively stable content and are common among many organizations. And how to create the pay structure is more practical, is based on the survey data and pay for the organization other job. It can be based on the organization job structure. Jadi, secara general, orang-orang yang berada di level atas seperti manajer ataupun chief, seperti chief executive officer, ataupun chief operational officer, mereka akan dibayar lebih tinggi karena mereka memiliki impact yang lebih tinggi untuk sebuah perusahaan, karena memegang level atas. Bagaimana cara menentukannya? Ini juga ditentukan dari job evaluation, yaitu sebuah prosedur administratif yang dimana ini itu mengukur worth dari internal organization employee-nya sendiri. Dan prosesnya itu adalah mengumpulkan dan juga men-training orang-orang yang bisa menjadi evaluator dari job structure-nya. Bisa dari human resource specialist ataupun konsultan luar, kalau misalnya budgetnya itu possible. Dan terakhir itu ada key jobs. Key jobs ini adalah pekerjaan yang relatif ada di setiap perusahaan seperti HR, operasional, manager, accounting, itu hampir ada di seluruh perusahaan. Dan ini itu bisa ditentukan gajinya itu berdasarkan survei data. Jadi bisa dibandingkan dari dengan perusahaan lain, gajinya seperti itu. And the next is about job evaluations of 3 jobs with 3 factors. So based on the table, there is a 3 job title. The first is computer operator, computer programmer, and also system analyst. And for the compensable factors, it is 3 factors. The first is experience, education, and complexity. And these 3 factors will be total, and such as the computer operator, the experience is 40 points and education is 30 points and complexity is 40 points is equal to 110. And for the system analyst is 65, 60, 85. It's a total to 210. And also others components such as working condition and responsibility. So what is the compensable factor itself? The compensable factors is the characteristics of a job that the organization value and choose for pay for. The rater assign each factor a certain number of points, more points to a factor which more important and when the job requires a high level of that factor. So for the example, is the computer operator total is 110 and system analyst has 210. So the company will take consideration to pay more to the system analyst and pay lebih rendah untuk computer operator dan mereka bisa saja membayar lebih secara rata-rata di mana 155 poin yang dimiliki komputer programmer ini juga akan mempengaruhi dari level salary atau compensable factor yang akan didapatkan oleh sebuah title job seperti itu. Jadi setiap title job ini berdasar compensable factor-nya nanti akan ditambahkan dari experience, education, dan complexity-nya. Ini menandakan misalnya semakin tinggi experience, maka akan semakin tinggi totalnya, semakin tinggi education yang dibutuhkan, maka akan semakin tinggi kompensasi yang dibutuhkan, dan semakin tinggi complexity, maka juga akan mempengaruhi dari total, di mana akan membantu untuk meningkatkan compensable factor-nya. The next is pay structures, is putting it all together. So the pay structure is related to company decisions about how much to pay and the relative value. Jadi ini adalah komparasi antara seberapa banyak perusahaan harus membayar dan juga the relative value atau job structure yang dimiliki. So the pay structure should reflect the external information that is market force, as well as the internal information like organization unit goals and the relative contributions of each job to achieving the organization goals. This is aims to set the levels of pay that employee will consider equitable and motivating. Jadi untuk bisa menciptakan suatu level pembayaran yang uh, membuat karyawan termotivasi, pay structure ini harus merefleksikan dari adanya external information seperti market forces, jadi berapa besar pay yang dibayarkan di market, dan juga internal information atau seberapa besar kontribusi yang diberikan dari sebuah pekerjaan untuk mencapai tujuan dari organisasi. And the next is pay rates, pay grades, and pay range. This is the typical combination that established by organization to apply those information. It consists of external and internal. Through above structure, the pay could state in terms a rate per hours. It's called as hourly wages, a rate of pay for each unit produced called piecework rate, and the last is a rate of pay per month or year. It's called as salary. The first is pay rates, is the determining pay on key or comparable jobs and non-key jobs. So the first is key jobs or comparable jobs. It can base pay directly on the market research of as many of its key job as possible, and if more than one survey, the final result based on the job's quality and relevance. And the last is non-key jobs can't directly determine the organization has no survey data. Instead, the pay structure developer creates a graph called pay policy line. Jadi pay rates ini terbagi menjadi dua, di mana ada jobs yang comparable atau key dan non-key jobs. Kalau comparable jobs, kita bisa mengcompare antara pekerjaan ini dengan pekerjaan yang sejenis berdasarkan dari market research. Sedangkan kalau non-key jobs, kita tidak bisa membandingkannya karena tidak ada survei data, namun kita bisa menggunakan graph yang called as pay policy line. So this is the pay policy line, basically a graph showing the mathematical relationship between a job evaluation point and pay rate. And this is used by the analyst to estimate the market pay level for a given job evaluation. So based on this graph, the line slope upward from left to right, and if higher level jobs are especially valuable for organization, the line may curve upward to indicate even greater pay for higher level jobs. Jadi ini balik lagi, kalau misalnya semakin tinggi dari job evaluation yang dibutuhkan oleh sebuah pekerjaan, maka predicted salary-nya juga akan semakin tinggi. Seperti contoh, kalau mungkin di sekitar 120, ya hanya prediction salary-nya di sini sekitar 2.000. Tapi kalau evaluation-nya sudah mencapai 280, bahkan 320, ini akan ada di puncak, di mana sekitar 6.000 lebih. Gitu. Jadi semakin tinggi job structure-nya, so semakin tinggi juga predicted salary yang akan diberikan. The next is pay grades. So this is the set of jobs having similar word or concept grouped together to establish range of pay. For example, organization could establish 5 pay grades with the same pay available to employees holding any job with the same grade. So, and then second is the drawback of these pay grades is the rates of pay for individual jobs not precisely match the level specified by market and organization job structure. Jadi pay grades ini the organization mereka establish beberapa grade untuk gaji. Jadi misalnya untuk pembayaran grade pertama sekitar 2 juta, grade kedua 3 juta. Untuk grade pertama itu mungkin seperti pegawai-pegawai level bawah, seperti pekerja, sedangkan level 3 itu mungkin level menengah seperti operasional, dan untuk level 3 mungkin lebih tinggi lagi sekitar 5 juta sampai 10 juta itu untuk level higher. Dan kekurangan dari di sini, dia tidak bisa mencerminkan dan juga tidak sama juga dengan market atau organization job structure-nya. Jadi walaupun terlihat seperti kayak punya grade-grade tertentu, ini kadang juga tidak sesuai dengan market dan juga job structure yang dimiliki oleh organisasi. The last one is a pay range, a set of possible pay rates defined by a minimum, maximum, and midpoint of pay for employees holding a particular job or a job within a particular pay grade. The midpoint is the market rate or the pay policy line, and minimum and maximum is a market survey of those amount. Jadi pay range ini ada minimum, midpoint, dan maksimum dari sebuah pekerjaan. Contoh misalnya manajer operasional, mereka minimumnya dibayar 3 juta, dibayar secara tengah-tengah atau midpoint-nya 5 juta, dan maksimum dibayar sebesar 7 juta. Jadi, sebuah perusahaan bisa menentukan untuk midpoint-nya ini adalah market rate atau dari pay policy line, sedangkan minimum dan maksimum ini based on the market survey of those amounts. So this is the sample pay grade structure. So the jobs are grouped into 5 pay grades, each each with its own pay range. The range is widest from the higher level employees in terms of their job evaluation points. Bisa dilihat di sini, ada job evaluation points dan juga ada monthly salary. Ada juga di sini ada current pay job and pay policy line. Jadi untuk, ada 5 stages di sini, jadi dikelompokkan. Kalau misalnya kelompok A dan B itu dikelompokkan dari job evaluation yang tergolong rendah, sehingga juga monthly salary-nya juga tergolong rendah. Dan mulai dari C ke F ini masuk ke golongan kedua, di mana, eee, lebih tinggi sedikit dibandingkan yang A dan B, begitu juga seterusnya, dan paling tinggi ada N, di mana N ini dibayar hampir 700 dengan job evaluation points yang juga lebih tinggi. Ini adalah, salah satu sampel dari pay grade structure. Next is pay differential. So this is the adjustment to a pay rate to reflect differences in working condition or labor markets. Differential intended as a way to treat employees fairly without regard to where they work. This pay policy can become expensive for organizations that must operate in tight labor markets or high-cost location. Most common approach is move an employee who's higher in the pay structure to compensate for higher living costs. Jadi pay differentials ini adalah sebuah penyesuaian di mana misalnya sebuah perusahaan mendirikan sebuah kantor di sebuah kota yang punya kehidupan yang lebih tinggi, harga kehidupan yang lebih tinggi, sehingga mereka bisa menggunakan pay differentials ini untuk meng-adjust dari bayaran yang harus diterima oleh employee itu sendiri. Dan most common approach-nya adalah memindahkan employee yang memiliki higher in pay structure to compensate for higher living cost. Jadi mereka dipindahkan dari kota yang mungkin harganya lebih murah juga, tapi dengan gaji yang sama, sehingga ini menciptakan pay yang lebih equitable dan juga motivating untuk employee itu sendiri. The next is alternative to job-based pay. So this is the layering, is the reducing the number of levels in the organization job structure by combining more assignment into a single layer, giving manager more flexibility in making assignment and awarding pay increases. Skill-based pay system is setting the pay according to the employee's level or skill or knowledge and capability. More flexible and innovative, encourage employee to upgrade their knowledge. But the disadvantage is not provide a way to ensure the employee can use their new skill. Kalau di layering ini, organization job structure-nya itu di-combine, jadi kayak dalam satu single layer itu diberikan tugasnya itu dilebihkan. Jadi, manajer ini akan lebih fleksibel untuk membuat penugasan dan juga mereka memiliki, peningkatan untuk mendapatkan pay-nya. Sedangkan kalau skill based pay system ini, karyawan dibayarkan berdasarkan daripada skill yang mereka miliki. Jadi semakin tinggi mereka memiliki skill, mereka akan dibayar lebih tinggi. Ini juga bisa meng-encourage employees to upgrade their knowledge and skill, tapi untuk kekurangannya sendiri, ini tidak provide a way to ensure that employees can use their new skill. Jadi karena mereka mungkin aja belum bisa sepenuhnya menggunakan skill baru mereka, tapi mereka sudah mengklaim bahwa mereka sudah memiliki skill baru. Jadi itu dia kekurangannya. And the next is the pay structure and actual pay. So the HR department should compare the actual pay to the pay structure, making sure that policies and practice match. Common way to comparing is measuring the compa ratio, the average paid to all employees in the pay decided by the midpoint for the pay grade. The compa ratio close to 1, it's sign that the pay structure is well planned to support the organization goals. Compa ratio greater than 1, the organization is paying more than planned for human resource and may have difficulty keeping costs under control. And the compa ratio less than 1, it's assigning that the organization is underpaying for human resource relatively to its target and may have difficulty attracting to keeping qualified employee. Jadi perusahaan harus bisa menseimbangkan antara pay structure dan juga actual pay-nya melalui komparasio. Kalau misalnya komparasionya itu mendekati 1, berarti dia sudah well planned. Kalau greater than 1, berarti perusahaan membayar lebih dari apa yang mereka plan. Dan kalau kurang dari 1, berarti mereka membayar di bawah dari apa yang sudah diplankan. Dari gambar ini, the pay grade is 1, midpoint range 2.175 dolar per month. Untuk komparasionya itu ada 1.07, sehingga kalau 1.07 it's greater than 1, so the organization is paying more than planned for human resource. And the next is current issues involving pay structure. So this is the pay during military dati. So the Uniform Service Employment and Reemployment Rights at Act or USERA requires employers to make job available to their workers when they return after fulfilling military duties for up to 5 years. During the time these employees are performing their military service, the employer faces decision related to the pay these people. The armed service pay service during members during their time of dati, but military pay often falls short of what they would earn in a civilian job. Some employers have chosen to support their employee by paying the differences between their military and civilian earning for extended periods. And the other side is Starbucks pay employees for the time they take off to meet the service obligation for the armed forces or National Guard, up to 80 hours per year. Employees can use the benefit to cover time for traveling and making transition between work and military service. Policies to make up the differences between military pay and civilian pay are costly. The employer is paying employees while they are not working for the organization, and it may have to hire temporarily employees as well. The challenge has posed a significant hardship on some employers since 2002, as hundreds of thousands of reservists and National Guard members have been mobilized. Even so, as the nation copes with this challenge, hundreds of employers have decided that maintaining positive relations with employers and goodwill of the American public makes the expense worthwhile. Next is pay for executive. The media have drawn public attention to the issues that executive pay, which attract notice because of the very high pay that the top executive of major US companies have received in recent years. Recent reviews of executive compensation at largest publicly owned companies in the United States found that median compensation of chief executive office has surpassed $10 million. Shown in the picture, only a small share of the average compensation paid to CEOs is in the form of salary. Most CEO compensation take the form of performance-related pay, such as bonuses and stock, causes the pay of executive wider than what other employees earn. And I think that's all from our group. We're very sorry if there is problems or something not good from us. I think that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and have a great day.
Yeay.
Stop share ya.
Heeh. Stop record.
Udah selesai nggak sih? Tadi nggak ke record. Astaga. Bukan.
Record.
Oh, stop.